TIFU by inviting a Tinder date over to my house and accidentally meeting his mother. Like many other unfortunate souls, my non-existent dating life has me turning to the dating apps. This particular one is from Tinder. I'd been chatting with this guy a few days, and everything was going swimmingly. We had so much in common and were looking for the same things. His pictures were cute, and he didn't live too far away. All seemed well. I invited him over to grill out some burgers in my backyard. He asked if he could bring anything. I said sure, bring some bacon for the burgers. He agreed and said he'd be over soon. Given his distance, I expected him to be over in approximately 15 minutes. I started the grill and seasoned the burgers. Half an hour later he messaged me, "I've driven by a couple times and chickened out. Are you sure you want me to come over?" Maybe a red flag, but I chalked it up to nerves and just said, "Come on, I'm hungry." So this Hagrid-looking guy shows up, much different than his Cedric picture. That's alright, I can move past that. From the minute he walked up, and I kid you not, he did not take a breath. Within the first 5 minutes I knew his life story, from his aunt who hated their grandma to his father who likes to collect taxidermy. Not a single breath. Again, I figured he was just nervous. I put the burgers on, and when they're ready he pulls out a Ziploc from his pocket with 2 pieces of bacon in it. He puts them only on his burger. Okay. We sit down at the patio table to start eating. I finished my burger before he even started his. He did not stop talking the entire time. When we sit down, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a vial? It is about 2 inches tall with a cork in it. It's filled with black powder. He must have noticed me staring at it, flipping between if he was about to snort something strange or build some sand art. He said, "Oh, all super casual. I'd like to introduce you to my mother." I just stared at him for what felt like an eternity. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry or run. I like to bring her to any important event in my life. She also has ashes in this necklace I'm wearing, and in this ring I have on, and this half-sleeve tattoo is for her. Now, mind you, I've lost too many people close to me, and I do not judge people based on their grief cycles. We all cope differently and I respect that. But homeboy brought a vial of his mother's ashes, and set them on the table for our first date. I simply could not. He finally finished his burger and I made some excuse about having to clock in and finish some work. At 9:30 p.m. he texted me before he even got to his car and told me, "My mother really liked you. I can't wait to see you again." I told him I didn't feel the connection to him or his mother. So this Hagrid-looking guy shows up, much different than his Cedric picture. That's alright, I can move past that. Don't put up with catfishing. A slightly out-of-date picture is one thing. It's another if he doesn't resemble his picture. He texted me before he even got to his car and told me, "My mother really liked you. I can't wait to see you again." Nope. 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 Open mouth smile, "My mother liked you." The ashes. Nope. I'm gonna start carrying around a vial of dirt myself. If I feel a date isn't going well, I'll introduce the other person to my dear old mum. Still, my actual mother would kill me if she found out. If you hear of a man that was mysteriously murdered with a slipper as the suspected murder weapon, then, well, leave it. I probably deserved it. Gotta choose a public place, especially when meeting strangers online. I'd say it's even riskier for women, but even dudes shouldn't invite strangers to their house. As I tell my dudes, if they're the kind of person who will show up to your house before even meeting you, you don't want them showing up at your house. Right? If someone invites me over to cook me burgers and asks me to fetch bacon, I'm stopping at the shop on my way over and fetching a full new pack. If for any reason I'm only able to provide 2 pieces of bacon, I'm 100% saying sorry, this is all I could get, and splitting them 1 each. I get most people don't invite people over to their place for a first date. It was my choice, albeit a poor one in this case. I've had plenty of good bonfire first dates, smiley face. But yes, lesson learned. I don't think it's the worst idea, but I always do a FaceTime video call first to get a better feel for the person, plus actually seeing what they look like. Sounds like you ran into a high-functioning autistic person who has developed plenty of coping mechanisms, but ultimately when they're put in a stressful situation they revert to their ingrained behaviors. I wouldn't be too judgmental. The guy probably knows he acted so weird to some extent and just struggles with it. That or he was just fucking bonkers, but a lot of this sounds like textbook autism. Well, that went places I did not expect. Was expecting something like his mother came with him and decided to chaperone the date at your house even though you're all adults, but this was like reading the origins of a slasher movie killer. Okay. I don't know why this needs to be said, and I'm not sure if you're a man or a woman, and at this point it really doesn't matter. You never, ever invite an online date to your house for a first date. I don't care how much you've talked, if you just want to fuck, if you feel a deep connection. Does not matter. Never. You meet in a public, well-lit area first, always. Bravo for keeping it together. Wow, what a roller coaster. From the misleading photos, the pants bacon, to mom's ashes done several ways. I have no clue what I would have done but just sit in shock. Cheers to you. Hope you have better luck in the future, and hopefully it does not lead to another TIFU that could top this. Y'all, I know during COVID it's very tempting to do the first date at a house, instead of the traditional coffee date, but still. Please. Well-lit public area. Cannot stress that enough. Not trying to rub salt, or ash I guess, in the wound up, but just everyone needs a reminder right now. Well-lit public area. Some people just have totally different personalities when texting. Be careful out there, folks. I kept my mother's ashes for a couple of years after she died, having not decided on a suitable place to spread them. They wound up in the same drawer as my socks and underwear, which is where they were when I met my wife. This provoked concerns about possible mommy issues, but she married me anyhow. Phew. I'm grateful for this story for the slightly more favorable light it casts me in. P.S. Yes, I did figure out a place for them. People here dunking on this guy make me kind of sad. He didn't do anything wrong, he was just very weird. Reads like complete social ineptitude. I hope he doesn't stumble upon this thread and slowly just gets better at socializing with people. I'll never fathom how people drone on endlessly without pausing. I was performing a piano solo recently, and some other musician comes up to the piano and starts talking at me during the performance. He wanted to let me know he didn't bring the sheet music today, he'll bring it next week, while I'm playing a solo. After 30 seconds of him droning on about this simple fact, I tell him, I'm busy here, and he says, oh, I didn't know you were playing. Some people have zero situational awareness. Please, please, please. Never invite a Tinder date to your house until you have met them in person in a public place and have been able to reasonably rule them out as a creep. Just for your own safety up. This guy obviously was a weirdo and not who he pretended to be online. It left you with a funny story, but it could have been so much worse. He could have assaulted you, be a stalker who now knows where you live. Just so many things could have gone terribly wrong. Never do houses or apartments on first meet. I've learned that the hard way. Never any creepers like that though, just some very crazy chicks. One time I showed up after being invited over. We had never met in person before. I show up and she's blackout drunk and started jumping my bones as soon as I got there, and her dog just kept barking at me, which I understood he was protecting his person. I left within 5 minutes after driving 45 minutes in bad weather. It was on Valentine's Day too, lol. Oh man. This was brutal to read and truly unfortunate for you, but I hope this was worth the karma, because if this dude reads this he's gonna be devastated, and it seems he already has trouble socializing properly, especially with women. Tinder dude, if you're reading this, just use this as a learning experience for the next time. Also use an updated pic of you, cause starting off with a lie is really not gonna help. I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. As a Hagrid-looking MFER myself, I never misrepresent myself online, for this very reason. That being said though, I'm glad you're safe, but this makes me feel sad for this person. I'm definitely nowhere near this bad, but I've had friends that are relatively close to this, and it makes me believe that he just doesn't have anyone in his life that can help him out. That being said though, I am glad that it did not turn out worse, and I hope he is harmless, and takes the rejection well. I'm wondering what I have been doing wrong if this guy can carry a conversation on Tinder long enough to get invited to someone's house and I can't. Did you ask any questions about it? How much of his mother has to be there for it to count? If he owns other things with his mother in it, do those parts need to meet with you too, or do they all share the experience? Do the ashes speak to him? Or is the mother's ghost somehow bound to the vial of ashes? So many more questions I would want to ask. Of course I would be asking them as I look for somewhere else to live. Girl, are you kidding me right now? You invited a guy you've never met before to your house? Fuck. No. Safety 101. Meet somewhere public and drive separately. That way you can assess the crazy before inviting someone over. Really. This is a very scary choice you made. Don't do it again. Your personal safety matters.